All right, time to move on to our next big feature in Go. I'm excited about the next topic because it's going to be something that kind of compares and contrasts against one of the previous features that we were just talking about, which is structs. So in this section, we're going to be talking about maps. So maps are going to end up being very similar to structs, but we're going to make sure that we point out a lot of the differences between the two. In Go, a map is a collection of key value pairs. And so if you're used to other languages like, say, Ruby, JavaScript, Python, you can think of a map being just like a hash in Ruby, an object in JavaScript, or a dict or dictionary in Python. Now you'll recall that in the last kind of collection of videos, I had said that structs were very similar to exactly these same objects. And so I'm now kind of saying, well, here's these two separate things in Go that are very similar to a hash, an object, and a dictionary. So we're going to talk first a little bit about exactly what maps are and a couple of the features around them. And then I'll tell you in great detail how they differ from structs in Go and where we choose to use one versus the other. Okay, so the first thing I want you to understand about maps is that both the keys and the values are statically typed. So whenever we add some number of keys to a map in Go, they must all be of the same exact type. And then all the different values that we add as well must also be of the exact same type. Now the keys and the values themselves don't have to be of the same type, just all the different values have to. So essentially we get this one set of types over here, and then the other set of types over here on the key side. Now, as far as maps go, there's really no replacement for doing a little code snippet or just kind of playing around with them for a little bit. So let's change on over to our code editor, and we're going to make a tiny little project to get a better sense of how we create a map and how we kind of manipulate them. So I'm going to change on over to my code editor, and we're going to create a new project directory for this new example. So I'll go to File, Open. I'm going to make a new folder called Map, and then I'll open up that directory. Now inside of here, we'll start off by creating a new file, so main.go. And then we'll put down the usual boilerplate for a starting file. So we'll say package main and func main at the top as well. Now I expect to have to print out a couple of different lines of code here just so we can kind of examine a map and figure out exactly how it's working. So I'm going to import the FMT package right away as well. All right, now there's more than one way to declare a map in Go. And so we'll start off by examining a couple of these different ways of declaring a map. So the first one we're going to look at is the very plain, very simple literal syntax. So we're going to create a map called colors, and we're going to say that both its keys and its values are of type string. So to say that, we'll say colors is going to be assigned the value map. We'll place square braces, string, we'll close them out, and then say string a second time. Now this right here says that we are declaring a map where all of the keys inside the map are of type string and all of the values are of type string as well. So let's figure out how we can add a couple of values into this thing when we first create the map. So I'm going to give it a string as a key of red. We'll place a colon and then the value that we want to set this equal to. So let's imagine for a second that this colors map is going to somehow relate the name of a color to its hex code of the same color. So if you're not familiar with hex code colors, hey, it's really not that bad. We can say red hex code in Google, and it'll tell us, hey, the hex code color for red is FF000. All right, so let's flip back over and enter that in here. So we'll say FF0000. Now, just to be clear, this kind of red being this hex code of a color is just a for example here. I'm just kind of imagining maybe we want some type of map to figure out, given a name of a color, what its hex code is. So nothing really particular going on here. I just wanted a good example. Now we can add in as many key value pairs to this map as we wish. We just have to separate each entry with a comma. So we can put down a comma, and then maybe we want to add in the color green. And that might be, I don't know, I'm just making up 745 here. That'll work. And then unlike other languages, and we saw this over with structs just a second ago, every single key value pair that we add in, we're going to place a comma after it, like so. So this declares a map where all the different keys are strings and all the values are strings as well. So let's now print out this map and just see what happens. So we'll say fmt print line colors, like so. And then we'll save the file, and we'll flip on over to our terminal and run this and just see what happens. So I'm going to change into map. There's our file, and we'll run go run main.go. There we go. Okay, so it tells us that it's a map. We've got two key value pairs. The first is red, here's the value. Second is green, and here's the value of that one as well. So I think that we've got just at least an idea of how we create a map here using this first little bit of syntax. So let's take a quick break, come back in the next section, and we're going to look at two additional ways of declaring and assigning maps as well. So quick break, and I'll see you in just a minute.